So I'm making some good progress on the hand controller. I've got the prototype mocked up. It's now operating my mill. I've got almost all the functionality complete and in place. I'll start walking through some of the buttons. This is the select for the x-axis. And so now you can see that we're controlling the DRO for the x-axis. Same thing with the y. I can move that. Z can change through those axes. So those are axis select. Those only impact the MPG. These buttons on the left side of the MPG and the bottom, the blue is the coolant button. So you can see that it lights up the coolant. This is the program stop button. I've got no program loaded, so nothing's actually happening. But so that's the program stop. This is program pause or feed hold, and then this one's the cycle start. Pretty simple buttons. I'll probably add some more functionality around those at a future date, but so far that's what those do. The interesting button here in this case also is the white button, which provides two different functions. Either it zeros the selected axis, or for finding edges and finding the home position for that axis. But it also allows you to divide the axis by 2. So if you're wanting to do zeroing in the center of your stock. So if I press the button, so I'll select the x-axis to start with, and if I press the white button for like 2 seconds, it'll zero the axis. If I let it go. Well, it won't in this case because we're supposed to be referenced. Let me reference all the axes. So now my axes are referenced, and I can press the white button. The white button, like I said, will either zero or divide by 2 the axis. So if I grab a hold of the X and move that around, now you can watch. If I hold it down for about a second or second and a half, it'll zero that axis. Or, so if I was wanting to do, like I said, centering in the middle of the part, if I hold it down for past the initial second and then hold it down for a total of 2 seconds, it will divide that DRO by 2. So you can see that it divided the x-axis by 2. There's also audible tones that happen for each one of those time intervals. The orange buttons you see here are simply dedicate buttons to make the z-axis go up and down. Pretty simple. The thumb control is a kind of a proportional jogging control that kind of acts like the jog shuttle that Tormac sells, but basically its speed depends upon how far you have pushed the thumbstick. So if you watch, we'll select the x-axis. Actually, that didn't do any good because the joystick controls dedicated either X or Y. So I'll show you the x-axis in motion. If I just barely push it, you can see that it moves slowly all the way up to a much faster rate if you push it farther. Super handy. Same way on the X. This other white button is used to select your step intervals and a mode that's either called continuous step or dynamic step. So we'll walk through those, but basically if you click it one time, it beeps once and tells you kind of where it's at. If there's a delay or there's a timeout, an activity timer, so if I push it now again, it'll beep at me once so I know where it's at. But if I press it again, it'll move over to a thousandths. So it's based on an activity timer, and you can press it at any time to kind of find out where you're at when you're not looking at your monitor. So I'm currently in continuous mode. And so for the z-axis, in continuous, it's just continuous jogging at the continuous speed that you find in the jog rate. if you're in dynamic mode, it moves in at the pace of rapids. So that's one of the things that we've implemented in the dynamic section. Beyond that, that's about it. This selects. Oh yeah, so this selects the ability to move the feed override, RPM override, max velocity, and jog speed override. So again, just like this button, the other white button, if I click this once, it'll tell me where it's at. One beep says that we're on the feed speed. So if I turn my MPG, you can see that it moves that slider. If I click it again to get 2, in that case it was 3, actually went past it. So we're on max velocity. And if I get 4 beeps, you'll notice that the jog speed over in the far right is moving. So if I want to get to the RPM, I know that's 2 beeps in. I just click it. That's 1 beep, 2 beeps, and now I'll be on the RPM and the ability to move that. So that's the jog shuttle. More to come. Pretty excited about what it's doing so far. It's nice to have something other than arrow keys to actually control this thing. So thanks for watching.